Can you introduce yourself and tell me your name, your age, and your leadership position?
Okay, my name is Raphael Mnkandhla, and I'm an associate pastor slash youth pastor at City Chapel, Grand Prairie. We have two campuses. One of them is in Arlington, but I work mainly with the Grand Prairie one. And I am 30 years old. This is my 31st year. Um, yep.
Okay, cool. How old were you when you took your first leadership role, and what was it?
Really, just the main thing is that you're asking about the church or just
like in your life, what was your
life.
very first initial role in leadership?
Probably just right after I got saved.
How old were you?
I got saved at the age of 17, but didn't plug in as much until probably the age of 18, 19. But the whole thing was just like the radical testimony that I had. I found myself just wanting to just plug in, and so I was probably 18, 19 when I took my first leadership position. Yeah.
What was it?
It was going. This was in Zimbabwe. This was going into schools and doing. What we have is that we have AIDS awareness programs, but at the same time, it's a way of teaching life skills, AIDS awareness, and at the same time present the gospel through that. So it was with an organization like right here, probably compared to FCA.
Okay.
But it's like you're going to like school to school to school, and you're doing that, establishing clubs and working with kids. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So, what has been the biggest thing that you've learned personally from being in leadership?
Probably the biggest thing. Okay, the biggest thing is probably, I would say, taking care of yourself. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart. From it comes out everything in life." And I think in leadership, no matter whatever you're doing, is making sure that you are healthy. A healthy leader is equal to a healthy ministry.
Yeah.
And if you're unhealthy, you're just gonna have an unhealthy ministry. So it's in Christianity, it's taking care of your own sanctification and everything else and then doing everything that you're doing out of that reservoir, like just out of that the account of your what you're putting into your sanctification, brother. Yeah.
Okay. What is the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome to be the leader that you are today?
Still probably the same thing. The challenge is to mistake. Probably the challenge is to mistake the response you get from people, and for maturity.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like, isn't like to mistake where you think of yourself at a certain level, but that's not the real view of really who you are. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge. Just really always making sure that you balance out time for you to really just take care of yourself, and because the challenge comes in where projects are coming and things are going, and I'm always that kind of person that soul is so driven, and there's a lot of times when I find myself working for Jesus, not working with Jesus. So that's probably, I would say, that's my biggest problem. Just like where I just find myself just working and running myself so dry, and just no energy, no zeal for what I'm doing, and then I realize the very big important is that I've just become a mother and I'm no longer married.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yep.
What has been the biggest reward that you have received from leadership?
Uh, the biggest reward is probably just life change. Life change in terms of witnessing life change in another person's life, but at the same time, life change in terms of me as well. And so it's almost like I think Romans 1:12 kind of goes into that, where Paul says, "I'm looking forward to coming to you so that I could impart to you spiritual gifts and not only that your faith and my faith will be encouraged through it."
Yeah.
And so it's just like so I've had fun with the fact that if I really apply myself very well, I find myself growing out of that. It's almost like it's my worship. Peter, do you love me? Feed my sheep. So it's almost like God, Jesus was saying to Peter, this is your worship. The way you express your love for me is by serving me in this way. So for me, it's been a form of worship, but at the same time, then watching God change lives, and that's it motivates me. That's why, for example, I love when I see people responding to Christ, people moving forward. That then it just energizes you, and you just would,
Okay, that's awesome. Do you see yourself staying in this leadership position for the rest of your life?
For the rest of my life, you mean at the same church?
Same exact role you're in right now.
Probably, seasons might change. Seasons might change, but one thing for sure is that I don't know much about whether staying the same place. But right now, obviously, this is where God has me. And my philosophy in leadership is just simple, very simple. Is the day I am able to finally pray, John 17:4, I've completed the task that you gave me. I've glorified you on earth. Jesus was saying this, I've glorified you on earth. And for me, if I can honestly nail down and say to Jesus, to God, I've completed the task you gave me. I've glorified you in Grand Prairie. And, for Jesus, it was now almost like extract me from this. I'm done with this assignment. Now I can move forward. And I always just feel like usually leaders prematurely eject themselves out of because of frustrations, hard times, and all that. But those are part of it, and those are actually some of the things I celebrate. Hard times, because hard times, that's where I feel like those make you. But whenever you honestly, in front of people, you can make all kind of excuses. But can you honestly just get down on your knees and pray to God, and you say that, God, I've done everything that I could do at this church. I've completed the task. This is why you had me here, and I feel like I've completed the task. And you can be able to just get up from your knees and say, okay, I finished everything. So I don't know when that's gonna be. So I'm gonna stick with it until I can be able to say to God, you know what? I've completed the task. I've raised enough leaders. And some of it really has to do with that. It was like, can you be able to come up, and can you be able to leave the church and not feel that void? That, like, obviously people are gonna miss you. But can things still run?
Right.
Yeah. So that's it.
Okay. And then the last question: what are 3 practical tips that you would give me as I venture into leadership?
I would say just the 3 big ones. First of all, feed yourself. Just as a leader, it's very important for you to be healthy, because you can run yourself dry. And the second one as well is this, and out of that comes a very healthy view of yourself, because you need to have a very healthy view of yourself, and once you have that, then probably we'll get to the second one, where the day you sign up for leadership is the day you sign up for probably, I would say, 80% of criticism more than, and then probably 20% or even less than that compliments.
Yeah.
So, but how you respond to that criticism, the criticism is gonna make you or break you.
Right. Okay.
Some people just crumble.
Sure.
And they take it as a personal jabs, and it just really just like it just becomes like, oh man, this is I suck as a leader.
Yeah.
This is what it is. Or you can actually just like be able to say, okay, man, I understand. So I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm comfortable working with the youth, especially. This is why I'm in youth ministry more than anything, because youth, they don't lie to you. They tell you exactly. So I would prefer sometimes a student walking up to me and saying, that was the worst sermon I've ever heard. Better than let me walk away just pumped up thinking that this is the best. I'm the best, and everybody telling me that I'm like, I would rather have somebody who can be honest with me.
Yeah.
It's going to sting, it's going to hurt, but at the same time, then I walk away from there just thinking, okay, what can I do better? What can I do better? How can I change it? How can I get them engaged? How can I? Because we're called to diligence somehow. So that's the second one. The third one. The third one is probably just making sure that you, with the people you serve with, teamwork is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Teamwork is very important. So you give out what you expect to get back. So mostly, like I would stop. Like yesterday, I stopped at some point. Today's youth and all that stuff. But I send a text message to almost all my leaders. Thank you so much for serving. You're awesome. You're amazing. Thank you so much for all the contributions you've made. You know, It doesn't really just encouraging, constantly saying thank you, constantly. You're not taking people for granted.
Yeah.
And that way they never take you for granted as well. Or they might actually take you for granted, but you're always constantly making sure that you're not overworking people, especially when it comes to volunteer.
Sure.
You always gotta make it, hey, listen, I really appreciate you. Let me know if there's anything I can do. How are you doing? And just so never make it. So really this is what it is. People over task. Task is important, but you instead of becoming so task oriented, because I can run over you so quick. If I'm task oriented, and you can be hurting, you can be going through something, or I can even hurt you as a leader. And so a lot of people lose leaders through that.
Yeah.
Lose people through that, just by not stopping for a second and saying, okay, what's going on? Can I give you can I lock into what's going on for a second and say, hey, how you doing? You doing good? Okay, awesome. Hey, by the way, is it, so not even always just like authoritarian, can you do this for me right now? Or it's just like, man, it'll be awesome for me. Can you help me here? Yeah. Can you do this? So just always watching the way you talk to people. So people I've just taken people important. Yes, the task is important, but the task always gets accomplished when people are, when the environment is empowering than when it's pushing down.
Okay.
So that. Those are the three things that I probably would say. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for letting me interview you. I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome.